to give the floor to Ms. Jin Judes, who is Executive Director of Based Rehabilitation, Israel's leading non-profit organization in the field of disabilities. She has been working in the field of disabilities for the past 20 years, including as Director of Community Work at Hot Hasharon Municipality and Community Social Work at Herzliya Municipality. She holds a Master's in Social Work, Planning and Management from the Bar Ilan University. You have the floor, Ms.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon to everybody. If you can look on your my left-hand side, I would like you all to imagine yourselves as a 4-year-old child. You have been picked to participate in an innovative research. You are asked 3 simple questions about the 3 children in front of you. Who would you like to play with? Some kids are real smart. Which is that kid? Some kids are likely to make a mess. Which is that kid? I now want you to think of the children in your community. How would they answer these questions? I will get back to this in a minute. Based Rehabilitation is Israel's leading non-profit organization promoting social change in the field of disabilities, and we are committed to making an inclusive society for all. I am proud to say that we were given the award for being the most effective NGO in Israel, and we are honored to have consultative status on ECOSOC and to be part of this amazing global partnership for people with disabilities. I am delighted to have this opportunity to talk to you today about the community-based rehabilitation model and how we have implemented it into practice. So let me tell you about our strategy for social change. What is unique about our organization is our vision of social change that is based on a community-oriented model. Every initiative for change that we do touches simultaneously on 3 core activities: service development, influencing policy and attitudes, and the dissemination of knowledge, and usually has a national and international impact. We innovative model services based on unmet needs, and these models are the basis for replication. We don't expand our services, but rather transfer our knowledge through research and training to other NGOs, government, and local councils who adopt these services and develop them in the entire country. This strategy frees us to invest in development and innovation. The only exception is a branch we developed in a neighboring Israeli Arab city. We set up a model of excellence in early intervention and developed a family support center that is culturally adapted. So if I go back to our innovative services, we developed the first early intervention center, and today there are 120 in Israel. We developed the first multi-sensory room, and today there are 400. We developed the first dental clinic for people with autism and intellectual disabilities, and today there are 16. Many of our services are replicable anywhere in the world. However, we understand that the challenges of people with disabilities are primarily the community's attitudes, and this is a major barrier to inclusion. So everything we do has a component of changing attitudes in the community and influencing policy and legislation that are necessary for an inclusive society. To change policy and legislation, one needs broad-based partnerships. We have been leading a coalition of 60 organizations for many years. This has brought significant changes in our legislation. We could not have done it alone. Only by joining forces have we been able to get to far-reaching changes. We believe the saying that if you want to go fast, do it alone. If you want to go far, do it together. Families and people with disabilities are our major partners and allies in this process. So while some believe that CBR is mainly service provision within the community, we at Beit Izi Shapira, and many of us here, believe it is that and more. So we tackle CBR with what we call our circles approach, that is based on the belief that to make an inclusive society, one has to look at the person with disabilities, as well as the interaction of the person within the family context, the community, and the society with the cultural and social and economic policies that surround the person. Any community-based change requires us to intervene on all these levels. Today, I will bring one example of how we have applied this model in practice. And I will hope to show you how the CBR, the community-based rehabilitation model changes the quality of life of people with disabilities and their families. The project I will present was in response to parents who shared with us their frustration that their children couldn't take their kids out to play in the afternoons and weekends as there were no accessible playgrounds. They also told us when that they did go to playgrounds that were not suited to their children's needs, they felt excluded and people distanced themselves from them. So we decided to build a model of an accessible and inclusive playground that would also take into consideration social accessibility that requires removing the barriers of social stigmas. So we planned and implemented the playground within a beautiful park in our city with vast and diverse partners, including people with disabilities, their families, families from the community, architects, garden designers, professionals, and others. We planned a park that would be very attractive for all children, for children with varied abilities based on universal design. We named the park Let All the Children Play. Is that not our dream behind community-based rehabilitation? But an accessible park is not only about the children. It is also about the parents and grandparents with disabilities. Bella Tsur, in this picture, a member of our local council and a disability leader in Israel, could not go to the park as a child. And she could not take her children, her 4 children, to the park. But only now, at the age of 50 years old, she's expecting her first grandchild. And for the first time, she will be able to go to the playground with her grandchild. So, do you remember those 3 questions I asked in the beginning? Well, we built an instrument to measure the perceptions of children who are 4 and 5 years old. And we wanted to check how they felt about their peers with disabilities. We discovered that children at a very early age think, feel, and act differently towards children with disabilities and have negative perceptions towards them. These perceptions are, of course, the basis for future stigmas. So we realized that we had to undertake a serious educational program in the kindergartens and schools and to change these attitudes, as well as change the attitudes of the teachers and the parents. And with the help of our disability leaders, we designed an intensive workshop for these 3 groups and worked on the attitudes of all these people. But we know perceptions turn to stereotypes, and so we've learned that in order to remove barriers and to make real and deep change in society, we have to change attitudes towards the whole age spectrum, starting from kindergarten teachers, including youth, and up to adults. I do not have time to tell you about these programs, but the programs of the youth are very interesting, and anyone who's interested can make contact with me afterwards. However, in order to reinforce the changing attitudes, we turned to the media, the mass media, and we partnered with Sesame Street in Israel. Sesame Street added a Muppet on a wheelchair to the Israeli cast. Her name is Sivan, and she's pretty, strong, clever, and popular. She's part of the community of the children on the show. Most of the children watch this TV program and are influenced by this. We have used Sivan with the help of Sesame Street Israel to develop workshops for our children in the kindergartens and schools and to portray our messages in the park. I would like to show you a very short clip about this.
ב-23 באוגוסט 2010 הושק באירוע חגיגי בפארק חברים של בית איזי שפירא ברעננה גן המשחקים הנגיש הראשון מסוגו בישראל, המותאם כולו לילדים עם מוגבלויות.
כמעט בכל מתקן שמנו אותו פה, והוא יכול לתפוס נכון ולהחזיק ולהיות בו לבד. מדהים.
האירוע היה חלק ממיזם חינוכי משותף לעמותת ססמי וורקשופ, בית איזי שפירא וערוץ הופ, שמטרתו לחולל שינוי בתחום החינוך לסובלנות ושילוב ילדים עם צרכים מיוחדים בקהילה. המיזם החדש משלב פעילויות שטח ותוכנית חינוכית בגני הילדים בהשתתפות דמויות מהסדרה רחוב סומסום המשודרת בערוץ הופ.
מה שאנחנו רואים כאן זה שותפות נדירה של 3 גופים חזקים מאוד, ערוץ הופ, ססמי וורקשופ ובית איזי שפירא, והם מטמיעים בדור הצעיר והרך ביותר בישראל את התובנה שכל אדם יכול להשתלב בכל מקום ולהגיע לכל מקום.
בהמשך לאירוע ההשקה, צולמה כתבה מיוחדת ומרגשת בהשתתפות החבובה סיוון והילדה אנסטסיה, שחלקה עם הצופים בבית את חוויותיה כילדה בעלת מוגבלויות.
אז אולי ניסע לשם יחד? כן, יאללה. קדימה.
So how did we leverage the park project to make a national and international impact? Today we are giving consultation to 30 local councils in Israel about setting up such parks, and that includes our social programming. And the government is giving some resources to this. And how do we impact on policy? We know that a critical component in policy changes is developing awareness amongst policymakers. So we've worked on this awareness. And just last week, as a result of this model, and with the help of the Commissioner for the Rights of People with Disabilities, Mr. Achia Kamara, who's sitting with us today, our government has signed regulations that require all new parks built in Israel to be accessible. It is now mandatory by legislation. And internationally, we are thrilled that we are now helping countries such as South Africa, Uruguay, and the UK to set up similar parks in their countries. So to end my presentation, I'd like to say that CBR, Community-Based Rehabilitation for us, is a multi-layered approach, a holistic approach, where you have to look at the child and his needs for accessibility, look at the experience of the family, relate to the community, and change legislation. So what we've learned together from the work in the United Nations and our experience is that there are a few critical principles to follow. First of all, we identified the community needs for recreation for families who have children with disabilities. We removed barriers. We approached this with a rights-based approach. Families and parents have a right to be part of the community. We developed broad-based partnerships. And of course, people with disabilities and their families were our major allies. So after all this investment for community change, we are already receiving different answers to the questions I asked in the beginning from the children we have worked with. Imagine how much further we can go in the future. We are committed to sharing our knowledge and experiences and learning for others. If anyone is interested to speak to us, and if we would love to learn from you, all my details at the end of this presentation. So in conclusion, we believe that with global partnerships and the implementation of the CRPD, we can all make a difference. Let's join hands to make this difference. Thank you.
I'd like to thank warmly Ms. Jude for sharing with us your impressive experience, the experience of your organization, your country. I think we'll remember for a very long time these images of the playground for children with disabilities. Now I'm